Hi, this is Christian. Thanks for checking out my second video on my channel here, Force from Scratch, which is kind of documenting my Salesforce from scratch journey and highlighting some of the projects I've been doing along the way. If you checked out my first video, you got a little bit of background on me and what I've been up to, how long I've been working in Salesforce. I'm going to throw some links below if you're interested in connecting. I'll send a link so that you can connect with my Trailblazer profile and also with me on LinkedIn. Definitely, as you're watching my videos here, throw comments below if you have ideas, thoughts, questions. Um, if you're wondering how I did something, or if you have maybe a better idea on a way to do something, or just kind of like a challenge, like, hey, you should try to do this with this. That's always cool. That's kind of what I want to do. So for this series of videos, I'm going to cover my Internet Movie Database clone that started under Mike Wheeler's platform app builder course. If you've taken that course, you're familiar with that. You've probably built your own IMDb clone app, and maybe you've taken it further, maybe you haven't. I've taken it a lot further than what Mike did in his course, and it's become a lot of fun. I'm a bit of a list builder, and I'm a bit of a movie nerd and movie geek, so it's kind of cool to keep track of all the DVDs and movies that I bought over the years and give them ratings and track other information. What am I watching lately on Netflix, and how am I rating things, and kind of tracking things there. So for this video, this first video, I'm not going to go through the entire app because that would probably take a couple hours to kind of go through everything. I'm just going to cover the main objects that are kind of the core of the app, and the record types I have associated with those, and how those kind of piece together. Through subsequent videos, I'll cover some more detail behind some of the fields, validation rules, and automation and junction objects that I use to kind of connect many-to-many relationships between different objects. So for this particular video, I'm going to go through, I'm going to start with the main object, which is the productions object. So a production being a movie, a TV show, or a video game. I'm going to cover episodes, which are going to obviously be connected to a production, and in 99% of cases, those are going to be episodes of a TV show production. Sometimes there's like video games that have episodes, but for the most part, it's just TV shows. And then I'll also cover this object here that I created called universes, where I kind of use to group things together, like say like the Marvel universe or Star Wars or Star Trek or whatever it might be. All right, so let's start going through this and let's check it out. So to kind of walk through this, what I'm going to do is basically enter a new production to kind of start off with. So I'm going to go ahead and click new production here, and you'll see I have 3 record types that I can select from: movie, TV show, and video game. Each of these have their own related fields and layouts, page layouts for the different record types, because I might have something different that I'm tracking in TV shows or something that I'm tracking in video games, and you'll see those examples here in a second. So for now, I'm going to start with a movie, and let's use one of my old favorites. I'm going to do Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Probably one that I watched way more than, say, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Not necessarily one of the favorite Indiana Jones movies overall, but it's one of my favorites because I used to watch it on a busted old VHS over and over back in the 80s when I was a kid. It came out in 1984 when I was 3 years old. Rating, I'm going to give it a solid 9. I really love it. It's a fun movie. Not quite as good as Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I think would probably be a 10, but I'll give it a 9. I've got some information here that I can enter from IMDb. If I have it, I don't have that information right now, so I'm going to leave that off. Is it fact or fiction? So in this case, it's obviously fiction, so I'm going to mark it as fiction. If it was some sort of documentary, I've got a field here where I can enter the general information about what the documentary is about. So if it's, say, the new TV show Waco, I could put in that it's about David Koresh or something like that. Over here, I'm going to go with I own a copy, which I do. So I have this marked so that way it unlocks. There's this pick list here that is dependent on the I own a copy checklist. So it kind of unlocks this pick list to then select what media I own it on. So I have a copy on DVD, and this is a multi-select pick list. So I might also have it on VHS or Blu-ray. So I can select multiple here as options. So digital license, that would be like if I have it on iTunes or Amazon Prime or something like that. Okay, so last date watched. I don't remember the last time I watched it, but let's say if this is a movie I went and saw last night and I want to record that I watched it, I can select that date. Last watched on. So did I watch it on hard media like DVD? Did I watch it on Netflix? Maybe even if I went to the theater, I think it'd be pretty cool to go see the Indiana Jones movies in the movie theater. And then I've got a description field where I can put in a general description, whatever I want. I'll say like Indiana Jones must recover 3 magic stones from an evil temple. Okay. So before I go talk about these last two fields, I'm going to go to the schema builder and let's take a look at these objects and see how they're related. So I've got production here and all the fields associated with production. I've got my episode object over here and I've got my universe object over here. So you'll see that I have just a regular lookup relationship from production to universe, because not every production is going to be part of a universe. Some are just going to be standalone movies or games or shows or whatever it is. But in the case of Indiana Jones, I mean, I would say that's part of a universe, and I've already created this universe object. So I'm going to go ahead and, oops, that's the wrong one. So the universe, I'm going to say this is part of the Indiana Jones universe. I've already created it there, so I'm going to save that. This is a sequel to, so I have another lookup from production to production. You'll see in the schema builder, I have this lookup relationship from production to production. So in this case, if I want to relate this movie to another movie, because in this field I have it marked as a sequel to, I can say it's a sequel to, and there it is, it's right there, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. So I have that as a sequel to itself. So if I go to Raiders, it'll show up on a related list, and I can link right over to that in both of these objects, and I'll show you that here in a minute. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this, and here's what it looks like here. I have Lightning app pages built for all of these objects, or at least the main objects, because there's just certain things I don't really want on here, like for this app, I'm not going to use activities or events, so I just kind of took all that stuff out. I just have my related lists over here on the side, my main details over here on the left, and obviously some information on the compact layouts on the top. You can also see I have some custom buttons, custom actions, so I've got a new movie, new video game, and a new TV show. I also have global actions. Global actions where I can add that stuff as well and add just the different record type rather than having to kind of select it. All right, so let's look at, I'll show you one more thing in here, which I think is I'm rather proud of, and I'll kind of show you the background on this probably in my next video, but I've got a link here that I created. It's not a field, it's a link that I created, which automatically pulls the name of the production and runs a search on IMDb. All right, there we go. And here we go, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So I've got it right here on IMDb. I can pull other information if I need to. If I want to grab this URL, I can copy it and I can throw it over here. So in the future, I can just jump right to the IMDb page from that URL using this link. So pretty cool. All right, so let's look at another record type. So in this case, let's do, I'm just going to go ahead and say new production, and we'll do a video game. So we'll go ahead and do a video game this time. And for this one, I'm going to do Super Mario Brothers 3, one of the what many consider is the best all-time Super Mario Brothers game. Year released, I'm not really sure. Can't remember the name last time I played it, but this is where you can see things start to look a little bit different in the page layout. So instead of having the last time I watched it, I have a field in the layout which is game date started, because a lot of video games It's kind of one of those things. Games are sort of like ongoing sometimes. You might play it several times over the course of a couple of months. So rather than having, say, the last time I play it, I actually put on here when I started it. So when's the first time I started playing this game? Certainly I can't remember when I started the first time I played Super Mario Brothers 3, but let's say I just bought a new game on Steam and I decided to start playing it tomorrow, then I can enter that as the date that I started playing it. Again, a description field. Here's another one you don't see on the other layouts is beat the game. If this is a case where I've made it all the way through the game and beat it, so I can keep track of maybe the games that I've beaten over the years. Game publisher, I'm going to say this is Nintendo. And let's see here, my rating, again, I can give it a rating. Super Mario Brothers 3, let's give it a 10. It's a pretty cool game. IMDb URL and rating out of 10, nothing really different there. I own a copy, so sure, I'm going to say I own that copy. And here's a pick list that's different. Instead of having the different kind of places you can buy a movie, I have a list here of places where I can say that I own the video game. So in this case, I think I have it. I bought it on the Nintendo Wii a long time ago, so I've got it on the PlayStation, or not the PlayStation Store, the Nintendo Store. So going back to, this is a sequel. So this is a sequel to Super Mario Brothers 2. I already entered it before, so I'm going to go ahead and pick that. And then universe, I did create a Mario Brothers universe, and it's already there, nice and handy dandy. So there we go, Mario Brothers universe. Let me go ahead and save that. And then you'll see that I've got on my page, my detail page here, I can go ahead and link to my Mario Brothers universe to kind of see what's recorded there. I've got the link to Super Mario Brothers 2, so I can link to that there as well. And then you'll see that shows up, Super Mario Brothers 3, the movie I just entered, shows up in the related list for productions. All right, so let's talk about TV shows, the third record type within productions, and this will also lead us to talking about episodes. So let's go ahead and create a new production, and we're going to select TV show. For this one, let's do Seinfeld. Might have some Seinfeld fans out there. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. I'm a big Seinfeld fan. Haven't really watched it in a while, but it was one of those kind of every night. It was on a couple times at like Fox, like after dinner, that sort of thing, along with like Simpsons and whatever other shows were playing at the time. So in this case, it is fiction. And let's see here, year released. I pulled it up here. It came out in. It was originally released in 1989, so I'll put that there. Last watched on, I don't remember when I watched it last. Let's see here, description. Just leave that as is. There's our IMDb URL if I want to grab it. I own a copy. I bought it on DVD a long time ago. And then universe is not really related to a universe, so I'm going to leave that blank. All right, so I'm going to click save. Now, just to kind of show you some of the page layout stuff that's different on the production, the TV show production layout, is first off, you'll see here, I do have a rating field, but it's a read-only field, TV show average rating. That's because this is a formula field that's based off of information that is rolled up from the episodes that are entered. So I'll go into more of that in another video, probably the next video. Another one that's different is I have a roll-up summary field for number of episodes watched. So however many episodes I enter that I say I watched, there's a counter here that rolls up the count of basically episode records. Those are the two main things that are different. Oh, and then TV show date last watch. You see also this is one that I can't manually enter. So again, this is another roll-up summary field that pulls from episodes and pulls basically the most recent date that I enter for when I enter an episode for a TV show. Let's move on to talking now about episodes. So if I go back to the schema builder here, you'll see that episodes are a master detail relationship from episode to production. So episodes are going to be related to the TV show. So I can enter individual information about a particular TV show episode and have that be related in a master detail relationship to the TV show production record. So over here, I've got a quick action that I created where I can just go ahead and enter a new episode. There's a couple places I could do that. I could do that here on this related list. I can click new on the little down arrow, or I can just click new episode here. Is it on my global? No, it's not on my global actions. So I'm going to go ahead and click new episode. And here's the information it's asking for. Not a ton of stuff. Episode name, I've got it here from IMDb. It's called Good News, Bad News. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that, episode 1 of Seinfeld. And on this field here, I've got date watch. So remember I said I kind of keep track of maybe the last time I watched a show. It automatically defaults to today's date because a lot of times I might just be on my phone and entering this while I'm kind of finishing watching an episode. But in this case, I don't remember the last time I watched it, so I'm just going to leave that blank. It's season 1. It's episode 1. My episode rating, I don't quite remember the last time I watched it, so I'm going to leave that blank. And then another field here where I can say, where I watched on. Did I watch it on disc? Did I watch it on Hulu or wherever Seinfeld's streaming? Did I watch it on regular TV? I'm going to go ahead and click save. Okay, so now that it's saved, you'll see that the episode is in the related list here for episodes under the production record. So I can open this and take a look at it. All right, so before we call it a day, let's look at the universes object just so you can see what those records look like there. Let's go to Star Wars and we'll take a look at that. So you can see all the different Star Wars movies that I have listed and related under here. Certainly there's a lot more stuff that can fall under the Star Wars universe, but this is what I have recorded so far. I've got over here, obviously, the universe name, and then I have another field which is owned by. So in this case, it's owned by Star Wars is owned by Disney, and then there's another field here because I'm a big fan of directors and writers. I do keep track of universes for, say, like Quentin Tarantino, Steven Spielberg. Some of these, say, directors and writers that maybe are kind of involved in productions in multiple ways. Maybe Steven Spielberg produced this movie, then directed this movie, or Stanley Kubrick did all these movies and maybe this TV show, or whatever it is. And if those are related to a specific person, and I'll cover the person's object in another video, I can link to that specific person if that universe is involved a specific person. All right, so that's what I'm going to cover today for now on my CMDB Christians Movie Database. Really appreciate taking the time to watch. Definitely reach out to me, throw some comments below if you have ideas, questions, if you want to know more about how I did something or how I put something together. I know so far that the stuff I have covered here is relatively simple, not super complicated, but just kind of a fun way of keeping track of movies and games and TV shows. I've even thought, hey, productions, I could add books to that, and this could be sort of like a Goodreads sort of a thing where I can have the books that I've read and what I thought of those and who the author was and stuff like that. I thought that'd be pretty cool. So future episodes, expect more to come regarding some of the formulas in the background, how I do the average rating for TV shows, how I created that link to IMDb to search in IMDb, and some of the cool stuff behind the scenes and under the hood on some of that stuff. And then you should expect other videos where I'll cover additional objects and how those are related, and especially how I use junction objects. And then I do have some cool automation that's built in with some of that stuff as well. So hopefully I'll be able to cover that soon for you. But till next time, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.